autumn holiday this year, Jean and I decided to visit Norfolk with a Barnes holiday tour, and our base was Norwich. After picking up passengers at Swindon and Reading, we were driven to Ely, which is a cathedral city in the county of Cambridgeshire. We had time to stroll around the shops and admire the cathedral from several vantage points. It was then time to go on to the Holiday Inn in Norwich, which was to be our hotel for the next 5 days. Our first trip was by heritage train from Aylsham to Wroxham along the Bure Valley Railway. As you can see, the coaches were rather small, but we all managed to get in. Before going to Wroxham, we visited Wroxham Barnes Shopping Village. It was then on to Wroxham Town Centre, which seems to be full of 6 Roy's stores selling everything you may need. This was where I had my first sight of an electric bus. Wroxham is on the River Bure and is known as the capital of the Broads. It was possible to hire small boats to explore the Broads from here. After lunch, we went on to Horning, where we had a trip on the Southern Comfort, a double-deck Mississippi paddle boat along the River Bure.
And photographed. The sun's not exactly shining today, but we are still in the thick of the waving season. We'll leave it to you to decide on your own personal wave, and you can practice a few on the journey. Holiday lengths. The cost of these do depend on the size and the time of year, and they can range anything from between £800 to £3,500 per week. As you approach the first event underground, where no one will even see it. The ground around here is very soft and over to our right hand side, the first of several reed beds that we'll be passing. This reed is purposely.
The next day we were taken to Holt for a ride on the North Norfolk Railway, also known as the Poppy Line, to Sheringham. Thank goodness for normal-sized carriages. You may notice that there is a path along the side of the line for walkers. Here we are at Sheringham. There was a 40s theme event at the weekend, hence these signs. We had time to walk to the sea through the town. This is Sheringham High Street. The tide was in and it was rather windy. We decided to visit the museum. Note the circular viewing area which we climbed. Once inside, it gave us a 360-degree view. The main exhibits inside were the lifeboats and fishing equipment, etc. There were several locals demonstrating the craft of Guernsey knitting and net weaving. The knitting is done with size 14 needles or smaller, so the knitters amongst us will know how fine that is.
Ah, yes, and I did it on these needles, didn't we, as well? Yeah. So this pattern's known as the Henry Block, whereas that one is a slightly different pattern.
All right.
So that's why. So this one here, as you can see, I'm just knitting this bit, yeah, and I'm nearly there. And then once I get to there, I do the ridge, and it just gives that definition.
That's it, just right now.
They vary from whereabouts in the country.
I've spoken to her.
Very addictive.
Yeah, because even if you just do the I'm just going to do one and I'll twist it.
then went to the small town of Wells next the sea, which is sited on a coastal inlet. We had a cream tea in a lovely cafe, which had an amazing display of teacups and tea cosies. On our last full day, we visited Sandringham House and Gardens. King Charles has been very busy having thousands of new trees and shrubs planted in the grounds. The garden in front of the house had only been finished 19 months before our visit, so very new at the time. No filming was allowed in the house, so unable to show how interesting it was. We had time to visit the church on the estate and were impressed with the silver pulpit and altar. Before going back to the hotel, we visited the city of Norwich, which also has a cathedral, with a spire second in height after Salisbury. It was difficult to film the cathedral as it is so big, but here are a few views. Edith Cavell, who was a British nurse during the First World War, is buried in Norwich, and here was a statue commemorating the fact. On our last day, we had a lunchtime stop in Saffron Walden, which I have visited several times before. We were then on our way home through some very heavy rainstorms.